There's an old African proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. And you think about that. Right now, things aren't going that well between Eli and his dad, Michael Martin. So sometimes, just sometimes, you need someone else in your life. Maybe that person's a teacher. Maybe that person's a scout leader. Maybe that person is a pastor or a rabbi. But for Eli, it's none other than Grady. Grady is stepping up and helping to be a father figure in Eli's life. So that's the first concept I wanted to talk about. The second concept that I'd like to talk about is in last chapter, we talked about the whole idea of a wing. And on the wing, once again, if this is a wing right here, the air going above and the air go below cause the airplane to actually lift up into the air. So that was another idea that was a little more confusing. And finally, this chapter, chapter 9, I'd like some wings, please, is about what you like to do in your spare time. Some people would call that a hobby. Well, right here, maybe you like to paint. And here is yours truly in front of the most famous painting in the world. Do you know what it is? Or maybe, just maybe, you like to speak a foreign language. Here's 7'2" former NBA basketball player Dikembe Mutombo with his finger out. He was famous for blocking shots and then waving his finger. But what you might not know about Dikembe Mutombo is that he speaks 9 languages. Do you want to learn how to speak a foreign language? Or maybe you enjoy cooking. Here's Mr. Fuller in Iceland enjoying some cuisine from Iceland. So today, once again, I'd like some wings, please, for Eli. He really enjoys inventing things. And so what he's going to be working on is creating a couple of wings for the plane, the car that will turn into a plane, fly car. Chapter 9, I'd like some wings, please. Eli knew that figuring out the mass and configuration of fly car's wings was going to be a Herculean challenge. They need to be lightweight yet tough enough to resist any puncture or changing wind currents. What lightweight metal was plentiful and inexpensive? The only substance Eli could think about was aluminum. He could collect aluminum cans from the neighbors, then melt them and reshape the metal to create an aerodynamic, wing-like extension of the car's doors. As soon as he had answered that question, more popped into his mind. Where could the wings be hidden when Flycar was just a car driving down the road? How could they rotate and lock into place? When they were extended, what would replace the empty void where the doors had once been? The answers were elusive, but after careful thought and consideration, they too waltzed into his mind. Eli and Grady started meeting up every day after school to work on the project. Grady liked the drawings the wings that Eli had created during his late night hours with his sketchbook. The question was how to make them come alive. Eli and Grady decided to make a balsa wood model of the wings first. Making the three-dimensional mock-up would help them work out the kinks of their design. And then balsa wood was an inexpensive material to work with. They were also motivated that within a few days they had a complete, workable pair of balsa wood wings. Meanwhile, over the next few weeks, Eli collected over 1,000 aluminum cans, going door to door and asking neighbors if they could contribute their used recyclables. He'd still stealthily drag the bags of cans back into the barn every night. And when he took out the trash, one of the chores around the house that he did to earn his allowance. Eli even paid Murph $50 for the aluminum can collection that he had been amassing for some time. Murph briefly wondered where Eli had come up with that kind of cash, but he remembered that Eli was always, and I mean always, squirreling away his allowance money in secret compartments around his room. He was mildly curious about Eli's sudden need for aluminum, but he knew he was always inventing something. As the number of aluminum cans in the barn mounted, Grady got even more excited about the project. One day, he brought in an old blowtorch to show Eli. "This is from my days of working on Martin Motors' assembly line." "Great. How can you use that to melt aluminum?" Eli said. "Did you know that that aluminum has a melting point of roughly 1,221 degrees Fahrenheit?" "Yeah, and you know something else? That temperature, 1,221, is a palindrome, Junior," Grady said. "What's a palindrome?" "Well, a palindrome is a word, or in this case a number, that reads the same both forward and backwards." Remember earlier we were talking about holes? Stanley Yelnats is the same backwards and forwards. Check it out. "You're pretty smart, aren't you, Grady?" Son. Grady patiently heated up and melted the cans, using the blowtorch as a modified forge. Then he placed the silvery liquid metal into molds. From there, he carefully stretched the metal into aluminum sheets that looked like enormous pieces of tin foil, but only a little bit thicker. They were roughly 5 millimeters thick, in fact, the same as the commercial aircraft skin. The aluminum sheets turned out better than expected, but Grady and Eli also discovered a problem. Even with so many cans, 1,000, they only had enough aluminum to make one wing. Eli went back to pounding the pavement, collecting 1,000 more cans, this time with Murph's help. They had to scour a nearby neighborhood this time so as not to draw too much attention to the project. Once again, Eli offered Murph another $50 for helping him gather the all-important scrap metal. "Okay, under one condition, you tell me what's up," Murph said. "What's with all this aluminum?" Eli wanted to tell Murph about Fly Car, but he was afraid his buddy would blab the details of his invention to the entire 5th grade. Are you someone that can keep a secret? Or are you a talker? He blushed and blurted out the first words that came to his mind. "Science experiment," he said. Murph started jumping up and down like an oversized golden retriever puppy. "Can I see it?" "Not exactly, I mean. It's not quite finished yet. But I promise you'll be the first one to get a look at it once it's completed." Eli hoped that this would be enough to satisfy Murph for now. "Okay," Murph said. "Say, did I ever tell you about the time I pushed a vitamin up my nose and the pill got stuck in my nostril? A few days later, I had to go to the doctor and have it removed when my mom noticed an enormous hump on the side of my nostril." Eli laughed. He liked that Murph didn't pry too much. Also, he was easily distracted. "Hey, do you want to go in the hot tub?" Eli asked. He loved soaking in that big octagonal hot tub behind the house, just off the corner of the deck. "Sure," Murph said. He was always game for a relaxing soak. Eli gingerly walked slowly down the steps into the hot tub so as not to slip. Murph, meanwhile, chose to do cannonball psh, directly into the water. When Murph came up for air, Eli asked him a pointed question. "Murph, what's it like when your dad is on an international flight with a layover, so he's gone for a long time?" "You can hear crickets at home," Murph replied solemnly. "Why do you think that is?" Well, I guess it's because everybody misses him, but it comes out in funny ways. What do you mean? Well, my dad's kind of like an overgrown kid, if you haven't noticed. He has a way of lightening up our family situation. Yeah, my dad has a calming effect at home as well. That is, when he's around. Eli was quiet for a minute. What do you like to do with your dad? I don't know. Play catch in the backyard, Murph said. Why? It's a chance to talk to him, and get caught up, especially after he's been gone for a while, Murph said. How about you? What do you like to do with your dad? Fishing. Eli looked up and smiled. Fishing's boring, Murph responded in a matter-of-fact tone. Exactly. That's why I love it. It's one of the few times that I actually have my dad's complete, total, and utter attention. When you're out on Old Man's Murphy Pond, there's no gadgets, no distractions. It's simple, peaceful even. I can talk to my dad about almost anything when we're out in the boat. My dad doesn't even bring his smartphone, Eli said. He says it distracts the fish, but I think he really does it for me, so we can just talk, man to man. Just then, Eli's mom slid the screen door open. Murph! Murph! Time to go home. Your family's about to have dinner. The boys hopped out of the hot tub and dried themselves with colorful beach towels. It was a beautiful evening. A pink hue filled the sky as a robin chirped a tune in a neighboring white pond. See you tomorrow, Murph, Eli said, sliding the screen door and heading into his own room, his mouth watering as he smelled barbecue chicken on the grill outside. And with that, we finish up chapter 9. I'd like some warnings, please.